the book of emerging into light, a masterclass in ancient cognitive liberation. Introduction, the great misnomer. For centuries, the Western world has looked upon the funerary scrolls of the Nile Valley and labeled them the Book of the Dead. This title, coined by early explorers who saw these papyri clutched in the hands of mummies, is perhaps the greatest archaeological branding error in history. The true name, inscribed in the house of the scribe Ani over 3,000 years ago, is RWNWPRT MHRW, the chapters of coming forth by day. This is not a book about the end of life. It is a manual for the beginning of true consciousness. To the ancestors, the average human was asleep while walking the earth, governed by impulse, fear, and the density of the physical body. The dead were not those in the tomb, but those whose spirits were trapped in the cycle of reactive living. The papyrus of Ani is a high-tech psychological map designed to help the individual break the shell of the ego and emerge into the day of divine awareness. Ancestral history, the scribes of eternity. To understand the wisdom, we must understand the lineage. The papyrus of Ani, c. 1250 BCE, was not a static scripture. It was a living, evolving technology. It originated in the Old Kingdom as pyramid texts carved into stone, evolved into coffin texts for the nobility, and finally became the papyri accessible to the professional class. The wisdom of the scribe. In ancient Egypt, the scribe was the bridge between the divine and the material. They understood that information is power. By writing down these spells, they were essentially coding the subconscious mind. E.A. Wallis Budge, who brought this text to the British Museum, noted that the Egyptians were the first people in recorded history to proclaim the doctrine of the immortality of the soul and the resurrection of a spiritual body. The history of this book is the history of human potential. It teaches us that the ancestors did not view God as something external to be feared, but as a frequency to be attained. Every person had the potential to become an Osiris, a being who has conquered death, change, and achieved Ma'at, balance. 2. The anatomy of the multidimensional self. The first hidden wisdom we must reclaim is the Egyptian map of the human being. Most modern systems view us as a body and a mind. The ancestors saw this as dangerously simplistic. 1. The cot, the physical vessel. The cot is the meat suit. The wisdom here is that the body is the temple of the spirit. You cannot achieve high-level consciousness if your vessel is toxic. In a modern context, your cot is your biological hardware. If the hardware is glitchy, the software of the soul cannot run. 2. The ka, the double/life force. The ka is your vital energy, your battery. It is what leaves the body at death, but it must be fed while you are alive. The 42 negative confessions. The code of the sovereign. Ani stands before 42 divine assessors. He must make a negative confession. He does not say, I am sorry. He says, I have not. This is the wisdom of radical responsibility. The deep dive, expanding the audit. I have not told lies. Integrity as a biological necessity. I have not been a man of violence, protecting the ka from the friction of conflict. I have not stolen, recognizing that energy cannot be taken, only earned. I have not caused pain to others, the law of interconnectedness. I have not been arrogant, letting go of the heavy ego so the soul can rise. I have not acted with deceit, preventing the fragmentation of the subconscious. I have not been hot-tempered, mastery over the fire of the lower self. I have not shut my ears to truth, staying coachable and fluid. I have not gossiped, refusing to leak energy through the words of others. I have not polluted the water, respect for the external environment. As an extension of the self, I have not shut my ears to truth, staying coachable and fluid. I have not gossiped, refusing to leak energy through the words of others. I have not polluted the water, respect for the external environment. As an extension of the self. 6. Thoth, the power of memory. Standing by the scales is Thoth, the god of wisdom. He records the result. Hidden wisdom. Thoth represents your subconscious memory. Nothing is forgotten. The judgment is not something done to you. It is a self-audit. When you face the truth, you cannot lie to your own memory. 7. Overcoming the devourer, Amit. If the heart is heavy, it is thrown to Amit, the eater of the dead. Hidden wisdom. Amit represents the matrix. It is the state of being a consumer rather than a creator. If you live only for physical urges, you are eaten by the material world. To defeat Amit, you must ensure your heart is filled with the light of purposeful action. 8. Ancestral technology. The solar path of RA. The ancestors did not just read books, they lived in rhythmic synchronization with the cosmos. The most powerful hidden wisdom they used was the cycle of RA, the solar path. The morning, the rising of Kepri. The wisdom, every morning is a rebirth. The ancestors began the day with a ritual of self-creation. They believed that the first thoughts of the morning set the trajectory for the soul's flight. Modern application, do not check your phone first thing. Declare your name and your intent. The midday, the strength of RA. The wisdom, this is the time of execution and power. This is when you use your Hekau, authoritative utterance, to build your empire. The evening, the wisdom of Adam. The wisdom, sunset was for reflection and audit. Before sleep, the do it, settle your accounts. 9. The field of reeds. Sekete, are you manifesting reality? If the heart is balanced, the soul enters the field of reeds. This was the Egyptian heaven, but the hidden wisdom is practical. The afterlife is a mirror of the mind, the wisdom of the blueprints. The field of reeds is the ultimate vision board. The Book of the Dead teaches us to pre-build our success in our imagination. You must see the crops of your labor already grown. X. Final synthesis. How they used their wisdom. Symbols as anchors. They wore the Ankh, life, and the Jed, stability, to remind their subconscious of their divinity. Ritual as routine. They knew that willpower is weak, but ritual is strong. The Ba for remote viewing. Scribes practiced deep visualization to solve complex problems in the higher realms of thought. Conclusion. Your coming forth by day. The papyrus of Ani ends not with the end, but with an opening. The traveler has become an Ak, a shining one. The ultimate wisdom. You are the scribe of your own life. The underworld is simply the challenges of the 21st century. Speak your Hekau. Weigh your heart. Name your gatekeepers. When you align your life with the laws of Ma'at, you are no longer a victim. You are an Osiris. You are a being of light, and you have officially come forth by day.